Hello everyone, my name is Notepad and on and I write games for fun, so what are we doing today? Bashing my mic is what I'm doing. Time's up, huh? We gotta pull out. Yeah, pretty much. Well, last time we were working on Zombie Dark 30, a action horror RPG about zombies. Now, as you can kind of see, I did do some minor edits, as you can kind of see here, just some like little things fixed just to kind of clear up the descriptions. That's one of the big things. One thing that I also did was, as you can see here, Ymir got moved up here because I had to add in this section. This is the 0 skill section. The commissioner actually pointed this out to me, is that there was technically no way to roll a die if you had 0 skill in something. So what this rule effectively states is, instead of rolling, let's say, 1 die in the 12v4, you're still going to be rolling a die. You're still going to be rolling that 1 die, but instead of counting every 4 interval, you're only going to be able to generate 1 success. So if you roll 4 or higher, you're going to generate 1 success. However, if there's anything complicated or requiring some higher skill tiers, you're not going to be able to do it unless you have momentum. But you can still succeed at like relatively simple things with any skill. It's just you won't be able to do it well, if that makes any sense. Even having a 1 in something means, like, yeah, you can do this up to 3 successes. Likely, maybe not, but you can. Outside of that, again, it's just kind of clearing up some of the wording. Move this image down here. Today, though, we are going to be working on what I like to refer to as mission operations, which is the non-combat stuff. Now you may be wondering, Notepad, why are we doing this so late? Why is this at the fucking midnight hour at this point? Well, I was trying to figure out stuff for this section. This has been a long experience because fun fact about this. Most games that deal with modern combat, strangely enough, don't actually have very extensive combat systems. Simply because guns do change quite a bit. Guns change quite a bit about combat. So I've been trying to find more information I can about the nature of combat, the nature of guns, how to actively do things. And I've roughly narrowed myself down to games more akin to Jagged Alliance, specifically 2, because Jagged Alliance 2 was the game I played. Now, for those who don't know, Jagged Alliance 2 is actually a very good game about pretty much playing a squad of mercenaries attempting to liberate an island paradise. It was very tactical, very nuanced, and it was actually a very fun game. I was very bad at it, though. As you can kind of see here, you kind of see all how the squads are set up. It's a very fascinating kind of game, which is going to be one of the ways I'm kind of basing things off of. However, I was like, well, Jagged Alliance 2 was fairly, yep. Jagged Alliance 2 had to be a good game, alright? Very simple to understand. XCOM's a good game, so there has to be a game that is pretty much modern XCOM. There isn't. There is no game that is just modern XCOM. I tried to find it. It did not exist. One thing about what I was finding, which is like games like fucking XCOM. I'm like, okay, there's gonna be Civilization 6, Humankind, Valkyria Chronicles, Fire Emblem 3 Houses, Final Fantasy Tactics. It's shit like this that it was like, Nani, the fuck are you on about? Like, have you played XCOM? You actually played XCOM? Have you played Jagged Alliance? Or like games like... Doesn't it have a zombie mode too, funnily enough? Yeah, exactly. It's kind of odd. This is the odd thing. Because I was sitting down and I was wondering, I'm like, is there a game like this? I spent a good long time today trying to find something, in addition to getting completely sidetracked because my friend was like, you want to play EDF with us? I'm like, Yeah, I could play a round or two of EDF. That sounds like fun. You know, fucking 3.5 hours later, we're done with EDF, and I'm fucking tired. Never trust your friends when they just suggest a little bit of EDF. It's never gonna be a little bit of EDF. Yeah, gun violence ruins lives, and also combat systems. Yes, they do. Yeah, combat's been kind of back and forth on it. There's been a lot of ideas, and it's one of those moments where, like, you change one aspect. One little aspect changes, and then suddenly aspect 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 change alongside it. So you need to worry about that first bit. And it's a cascading effect, so it's like, oh my god, what the hell's been going on? But yeah, generally speaking, it's been one of those days where it's like, god, there's not a really good option, because there's actually not a modern, you'd say modern warfare kind of game like XCOM, and every one that is usually has a gimmick. Usually it's aliens, fun fact. And it was like the one that I kept finding that was like, hey, why don't you consult Chimera Squad? I'm like, no, that's not quite it. Because one thing I've actually been basing this particular, some of the gun ideas off of, actually, kind of the moment-to-moment feeling of it, has actually been Ready or Not, which is a kind of the successor to the SWAT series. And I've been basing it off this game in particular just because of how quickly people go down. Not the movie. Movie's decent, by the way. You should also play it. You should also watch that if you're bored. But I've been basing it somewhat off of how the kinetic, the combat goes. It's been relatively successful, but it's like finding that ideal, like, strategy RPG to, like, this is where all the numbers are. It's Jover, kids. Because the big thing I'm currently stuck on for combat, the thing that's, like, truly, like, sitting there and, like, haunting me, really boils down to the the concept of positioning. Positioning and movement. Because there's a secret with firearms, everybody. I'm going to give you a secret about modern firearm. They are very long range. Guns can hit somebody from a very long distance away and kill them. I can't this isn't 5 foot squares anymore, and some of the games that I was consulting are like, yeah, use 5 foot squares. It's like, what? Eh? What? Like, oh, dang it. Because one of the big things I want to actually kind of emphasize here is kind of the idea of a good kinetic pace of things. That was one of the big ideas going throughout here. Also, before I forget, thank you very much, Dragon Bolt 3, for following. Yeah, I literally took out the range stats from guns in my game because ranges are too far to matter. Yeah, that was like one of the ideas that I was doing for things like, I was actually thinking of like a zone, a Zobi, a zone-based, it's kind of a zone-based combat system. For those who don't know what zone-based are, zone-based is pretty much, it'd be like a battle map would, instead of being like 5 foot squares or anything like that, it would instead look like, the inner, hallway, room 1, room 2. Actually, if we want to do this correctly. So it would look like something like this. So it's like, okay, you're in the hall, you're in room 2, or you're in room 1. That kind of idea. It's a zone, and each zone usually might have like a tag associated with it, being like, if you are in the hall, only only one person can look one way, only one person can look the other way. If you're in room 2, you can only face out of room 2. It's things like that. That's been debatable. I'm gonna be honest with you, it's been debatable. Usually not a big fan of zone-based combat for a few different reasons, but it's also like, Yeah, zones feel weird. The other idea was literally to have like just an abstract map. That was another idea. We just go full abstract action combat. Yeah, there's a reason a lot of shooter games have unrealistic short ranges. Yeah. Yeah, the idea behind like just the abstract combat map is like I'm not even factoring in like distances or anything, which is more along the lines of like there is this map that you're moving along, but you're not really moving. It's more like trying to position yourself in various locations. Option C is literally just I'm going to say this in the nicest way possible, the fuck it, just wing it Lamau option. The fuck it, just wing it Lamau is what I've actually noticed a lot of games do when it comes to kind of anything regarding guns. It's like, yeah, you could sprint 20 meters, do this. I'm like, oh, there's no map or anything. It's just kind of like, it's more about eyeballing the movement. They're about 20 meters, so you should be able to reach them. They're about this, you should be able to reach them. At this point, well, I might have to do the just fuck it, wing it Lamau option, simply because, like, either you go real hardcore, or as my friend suggested, I literally just, rip off XCOM. Just one for one almost. Just take XCOM's grid engine, go nuts with it. But that has its own series of problems, let's say. But it's not what we're doing right now, but it's something where I'm going to have to kind of like sit in the back of my head and like really say like, this is what it is, or this is what it's going to be. Because guns are a bitch. You never think they are either, because I think it's because they're so ubiquitous in games, and it looks so easy. I mean, come on, it's just there. You make a roll and bing, bang, boom, they're gone. It's like, oh, Jesus. See, I'm a structural man myself, personally. But only so much I can do. There is an answer. There is an answer. So let's see, what do I want to do? So, when the squad is deployed, when the squad is deployed in a hot zone, they are given the resources necessary. Given the resources necessary to succeed in their mission. An extraction point, as well as all the information currently available to them. From there, they must complete their objective. Objective or die trying. Because pretty much what I want to do is you're gonna get dropped hot and fast. Loads, and you're pretty much going to be not necessarily like sticking around, hanging out, having fun. It's more along the lines of like, you're in there, you're moving around, you have kind of those options to do what you actually want to do, which is missions are primarily broken up into two distinct kinds of actually missions are hello Draco. Missions are primarily broken up into two distinct kinds of scenes. They are broken up into combat and investigation. Investigation scenes are when the squad have to organize themselves and move toward the mission objective. During these moments, During these moments, the squad is free to act as they see fit, within proper reason, well as clearly defined there. Let's look. Actually, the squad is free to act as they see fit within proper reason, otherwise known as "play the fucking game" section of the rules. Yeah, it's one of those moments, like, there's only so much I could say for some of these games. It's like, yes, please play the game. You know, I can say a lot of things, like, you know, I can try to, like, detail everything I can, but it's like, just play the game. Please, I'm begging you. Looking at here. Let's see, stay fit within proper reason. Most of the time, however, actually, reason. However, squad is often the squad is deployed for a reason. However, the squad is deployed for a reason. One of these being that the information presented is rarely perfect, or the complete picture. It's up to the squad to figure out, to piece together the puzzle, piece together the puzzle pieces. The squad to piece together the puzzle in front of them. For them to complete their objective and escape alive. So, first bit first. I can actually see the correct thing. So, first things first, which we're going to do, investigate. We're going to do. How do I want to word this? Reconnaissance and mission operation. Not necessarily kind of like that. More along the lines of like, here's shit that you can do to kind of deploy. Though I should actually kind of put in a note about that. Reconnaissance. Let's actually what I can do. Overall, the squad will be performing. Actually, no. Actually, no. Let's do overall. Overall, the squad will be performing a series of grand objectives. Each of which. No. What am I doing? No. Okay, no. Gotta do reconnaissance. No, we're breaking this down to reconnaissance. If I can. Okay. So recon. When a squad is deployed, when a squad is put down, they're expected to conduct their own reconnaissance and intelligence gathering in the field. Whether they choose to report this, actually no, we don't need that. During this time, the mission handler will explain the various details they uncover and cover, as well as ask for checks to unearth, to discover deeper information. That's a deeper information or progress smoothly toward the main objective. Okay. Let's see, mission objective. So reconnaissance. That's kind of the idea. What it's just like. You're expected to kind of perform whatever you want to do. The mission hand. So this is this system of information gathering. Information gathering employs the. How do I want to do this? Actually, the system of information. Actually, when gathering the necessary clues or key pieces of information, key pieces of intel. The squad will always receive the piece of information they need to continue their mission. However, valuable details and exterior information will not be immediately presented, requiring talented operators or checks to discover. This is the gumshoe system, effectively. This is just you're gonna find exactly what you need, but never everything you want. I don't know how I want to do vehicles yet. We're not thinking about vehicles yet. And that's way off. We're not going to think about vehicles because vehicles are scary. Require talented operator checks to talented operators who checks to discover them. These clues will put together a broader understanding of the current mission in front of them. So we've learned a little bit more about reconnaissance. We kind of understand how this works. Not really that detailed. If I really wanted to, what I could do is let's see. I could really just I could just copy paste this information right here. This is this gumshoe system, really, when it boils down to it. Just like, yeah, you're gonna find exactly what you need, but I don't think I really need. Kind of like, yeah, you're always gonna find exactly kind of what you're looking for, and that's okay. That's the point. The thing is, like, I don't want people to be like, this game is not an investigation game at its core. This game is an action game with investigative elements. Just like, oh no, there's an issue. What do we do? We gotta shoot it. Oh no. Right, what I should say is, the reconnaissance conducted, the recon conducted by the squad is always in service to the greater objective in front of them. Always pushing them toward their next problem. Which brings us to go up here. It's counterterrorism, and you. During an operation in the field, the operators are expected to abide by some basic are expected to perform their duties as both counter-terrorist operatives and or how do I want to word this? How do I want to word this? How do I want to word? Actually, I should do actually no, we do isolated Zeds. During the deployment, the operatives may the operators may encounter lone or small groups of Zeds. These are of Zeds. When encountering a small group, there's always the option of bypassing them with a check. Alternatively, Zeds in small numbers can be taken out automatically. With ease. Lone Zeds are rarely a proper threat to trained operators who know what they are experiencing. Their threat mostly emerges in large groups, as well as overwhelming large groups, as well as in surprise situations. Zeds who manage to Lone Zeds are taken out directly with a melee taken out directly, often with a sharp melee tool, often a standard issue combat knife or hatchet. Directly to the central core, to their skull. How do we want to word this? Not full firefights. Then we want to do isolated Zeds. Then we do how do we want to word this? Again, it's not like a full-on fight, like kind of more of like a snap fight, you could say. Actually, during the mission, let's see. When the operators encounter something that is a threat, but does not warrant a full combat encounter, such as a dangerous special infected, such as dangerous special infected, or a armed guard. They will use the snapshot. They will use the snapshot combat resolution. During this time, all operators who are currently present may roll their CCR. CCR versus against a target number dictated by against the they roll their CCR against the target, against the target's defense. Defenses. If they are successful, it's put down without a problem. Being ambushed or immediately lit up without prompting a larger firefight. If they fail, the target may choose to flee, or worse, attack back with furious intent. Okay, let's see. In zombie games that aren't singular place, I feel they are relevant because the sort of quantity emissions zombie games, right? Vehicles and MacGuffin are needed. I think vehicles are rad, but they're hard to stat. Indeed, they are unless the system handweighs them a lot, which require quantum mechanic and a foreign master mechanic certification. Skirmish never, yeah. Yeah, it's kind of the idea. Snapshots of like, there's just a random dude there that we need to take out that's going to justify using an attack, but not like a zombie who is literally no threat to you. That's kind of the idea. What I'm trying to get around here is like, there's a guy who's kind of just sitting there not doing anything. You don't want to trigger a combat encounter. That's you sneaking up behind him and sticking him in the neck with a knife real fast. Just a in, out, done. It's kind of like, you're not really being threatened by them unless you fuck up. That's kind of the difference, is like, do you succeed or do you fail? Which, if 3 guys jump on some dude taking a piss, yeah, he's gonna go down pretty fucking fast. You might alert some people, you might not. It kind of depends on how you go about it. If you open up with a full fucking if you open up with a rifle on some dude there who has zero way of defending himself, yeah, you're gonna alert some people because you just opened up with someone on a fucking rifle. Like, there's they put down the problem without a problem. Being ambushed immediately lit up to prompting a larger fire. I mean, didn't I put in something like this in caps? I swore I put in something like this in caps. I actually seriously considered using tick combat for it, just because tick combat's its own weird thing, but yep. So what would be some other major issues that we would... Yeah, actually, what we're going to do, we're going to put all this in. We need to explain, again, this is the important bit, we need to explain why these are the way they are. Zeds are not a problem. That's the issue. They're not supposed to be a problem. They're supposed to be taken out almost immediately. The problem being that they are, usually there are never a few Zeds. There's never just like 2, 3 of them. Which brings me to, let's see, do I have my vehicle? Do I have my vehicle rule? Nope. Beat combat. Nope. Road war. Nope. Web. Nope. Stealth. Nope. Mecha. Nope. Nope. Cooking. Nope. Crit. Nope. I haven't had the full, like the full, really actually decent. I think Soldat Sun's Identité had came to vehicles because their vehicles were a little bit weird. Did I just remove vehicles? I think I just removed vehicles from the game. Actually, no, here they are. Vehicle. Okay, here we go. Because let's see, modern engagement, flying. Yeah, here. When in doubt, simply use shit you already have. A 2, which will select everything here. We're going to select just normal text. Vehicle, let's see, vehicle operations. Vehicle operation. Be it a taking action to stress the vehicle, the operator rolls their it's, what did I end up calling it? You know, I called it something stupid. Well, he was called it operating, right? Operations, that was it. No, I just called it drive. Cool. Rolls their drive. Rolls their drive skill as they, let's see, as they maneuver and pilot their vehicle to success or maintain control after losing it. Vehicle maneuvers, which we have 3. Swerve, it's going to be TN1. We're going to reduce the TN by 1 for all of these. Because again, these guys are very competent and they know what they're doing. What I'm probably going. Vehicle modifiers, increasing speed, +1 difficulty, aircraft under fire. We're not really going to be worrying about that. Overcapacity. Driver fails a maneuver. They suffer control loss. They re-roll the same difficulty, fail second time the crash vehicle, removing 1 hull from the vehicle and stopping it immediately. Handling rating of the vehicle contributes or takes away successes based on the value. Not worrying about that. Finally, vehicle determined by their hull rating. Let's see, determine which is the number of explosive or anti-tank shots needed to take them down full. At Hell 0, the vehicle is inoperable and cannot be moved. The vehicle is destroyed. All occupants are killed if they did not already escape. During high performance movements, vehicle move its speed value per turn. A operator can opt to increase their speeds value up to 3, increase the reckless driving penalty, enforcing a maneuver check each time they maintain control of the vehicle. Then we do this. We don't need to worry about that. Yeah, that's all I'm gonna really do for vehicle operation, but we can add in all the vehicles later. Because luckily we can just use a lot of these. These are pretty simple to do. So we just understand how vehicles work now. Vehicles are in, so we don't gotta think about it. The unbridled horror of how much damage hitting somebody with a car does. During it, it's how I'm literally going to say it. Here's Here's usually my rules when it comes to getting hit by a car. Roll some dice. If it comes up high numbers, you're probably gonna die. Like, that's pretty much, those are pretty much my rules when it comes to, let's see, we need to do something. What's the last thing I need? Oh. Actually, this isn't important. Let's see. Factional concerns. If using the ZDT during counterterrorism operations, operations, the leading operators are beholden to a set of requirements and legal procedures to make sure they are performing their duties, as well as maintaining global peace. Pretty much saying that you may be deployed in another country, but that doesn't mean you can violate the law. Let me see. Counterterrorism in other country. Counterterrorism practice. See, I was actually looking and like trying to find things of like, how do you do counterterrorism strategies? And fun fact, they don't really have anything. Like, it's like, let's talk to the UN. How does the UN handle it? Addressing conditions, measure, prevent counterterrorism units. Yeah, like, fun fact, this isn't really a thing that's really handled at all. Like, it's not really, yeah, let's see, main locale. Cut all the fucking issues here. Chechen militants. As you can tell, there's been quite a few. Let's see, designing anti-terrorism suits. Military, fails got to get irregular warfare. Dedicated unit whose sole response to prosecution of these tasks instead of counterterrorism focus on elements of rollout, flexibility, deployment. Fatwa. Yeah, the fatwa and let's see. Hey bros, how's it going? It's going. Complete challenge to make non-blood hunter. What is the blood hunter? Not, too edgy for blood hunter. Blood hunting, my face went Geneva Convention. Yeah. What's this? This is a Zombie Dark 30. This is me trying to figure out counterterrorism services, factional concerns, during holding required legal procedures, maintaining global peace. In other words, the operators are depending on who is paying the operators, they have to abide by some basic rule. They have to abide by basic rules. 1. No killing civilians. No killing civilians. Actually, let's bring up the Geneva Convention. Geneva Convention laws. What are the laws of the Geneva Convention? Tell me more about the Geneva Convention. Actually, so let's see. Let's see if we can find some other Geneva Conventions. Treatment of prisoner of war, protection of civilian persons during time of war. The protocols, adoption of additional distinctive emblazonation. Fun fact, that the pretty much Protocol 3 means that you can't put red crosses in video games because that's technically a war crime. Even though no one really gives a shit. Okay. So must abide by some basic rules. The general gist is that the general understanding is that lethal force is authorized for those who are active combatants. Or who are willingly assisting. Civilians are not to be targeted. Civilians are not to be targeted unless under dire circumstances. Unless under dire circumstances related to biological warfare. Let's see, under dire circumstances related to biological warfare being spread. Pretty much what this is saying, that literally the UN does not want you to hurt people. It's like, really only hurt the people necessary. If you're in this situation, you're probably going to. There's one very specific thing is, hey, a bunch of civilians have gotten infected with zombie plague. They're not going to turn right away, but you do have the okay to pop them. Like, you do have the right to start popping. However, it's like there's got to be a good way. Yeah, it's like the Hague and stuff like that. Someone just non-lethal weapons for this scenario. Nope, not really. Let's see. Not related to biological warfare being spread. In far simpler terms, if they're infected, they aren't people anymore. If they're infected, they aren't people anymore. They're walking biological weapons. WBs. BWs. They're walking biological weapons. As for less savory individuals, none of this matters. None of this matters. You have a job. The operators have their job, and they will perform it. Whether they by any means necessary. Pretty much like the default, I would say like the default faction in this is STARS, is the special tactics, and I end up calling it in the lore here, Special Tactics Assault Recon Service. Pretty much, it's a UN-funded anti-bioterrorism unit. Literally, they're the only faction who really has to listen to this kind of shit. Is this like, yeah, don't be a fucking psychopath. That's like the like rule 1. Please don't be a belligerent psychopath. Let's see. Isolated Zeds. Group of Zeds. Zed zombies. Zeds zombies. Zombies. BWs. Bioweapons. Even the occasional risen are all accepted nomenclature. Nomenclature. All accepted naming conventions. Technical term is primarily is what would be the correct term? It would be biologically infected individuals. Yeah, yep. Biologically infected individuals. Effectively, zombinos. We don't trust zombinos. Alright, so that kind of summarizes this section. There's not a lot of rules in this section. It's kind of hard to put in rules in like the, hey, play the game section. I can provide you all the rules fucking possible, but please just play the fucking game. Life challenged persons. Yeah, it's like there's a little bit of like one of the big things here is like these are zombies. These used to be people, but it's like dehumanize yourself and dehumanize them. Those are not people anymore. Those are people who want to eat you. Take out your gun and shoot them in the head. Don't think that they are people. They are not. Like that should remind me. Savior complex. Savior complex. Someone pinged me. Who's pinging me? What do you want? Regardless of the NATO phonetic alphabet, please do not recall them Zulus. Yeah, it's shit like that. It's like if you want to play it this more humorous, like that's one thing I've always like expected. Like, yeah, you can play this humorously if you kind of want. Savior complex. Operators may be swayed to assist with civilian evacuation efforts, or attempt to assist civilians in the escape of a location being overrun by bioweapons. By technicality, they are not responsible for them. However, if the operators are compelled to assist, any non-combatant or poor combatant will be regulated to the civilian the civilian role. A civilian does not act during combat. Scenes, preferring to hide as best they can. And will perform the best they can in every other situation. They are treated as if they are non-important characters, meaning that a single wound will immediately down them. Will immediately bring them down into a dying state. Civilians may have unique skills. Well, let's see. Civilians may have unique skills that will benefit the squad in the long run. But let's see, in the long run, but ultimately, only your squad may. Let's see. Benefit the squad. May have unique skills that will benefit the squad, but they are not. They are not adherent to your cohesion. But they are not but they cannot draw from your cohesion. They will not draw from your cohesion, but they will not draw from your cohesion. They weren't supposed to be here. You're not responsible for them. Yeah, so if you do want to, if the players are like, I want to bring my friend along, like, no. Yeah, it kind of depends on the mission. That's kind of the idea. It kind of depends on the mission, but it's like, if you're playing Whitewater technical, White River technicals, you're probably not there for civvies. Actually, I should. Let's actually see. So single bring it down. Okay, so if they're not supposed to be here. Actually, let me see. Unless explicitly told, civilians are not part of the operation, and are not part of the let's see, unless explicitly told, civilians are not part of the operation. Saving them is the squad's decision and responsibility. Kind of along the lines of, like, if you're playing like White River, you probably don't give too much of a shit about them. But if you're playing, like the, stars, you probably do care a little bit more. It kind of depends on who you're playing and what you're kind of going for. Yeah, just the basic idea is, like, they are helping you the best they can. That's kind of the basic kind of concept of it, that they are assisting you. Probably not very well. Actually, I should put this in, which is action and danger scenes. There will be moments during the investigation phase in which the operators are in direct threat, burning houses, collapsing buildings, barbed wire, falling down a cliff, etc. during this time they will during this time they'll need to perform an action scene. They'll need to perform an action scene to get the hell. They will need to perform a series of checks to escape. Sometimes series of checks to escape or emerge unharmed. For example, we'll use Ymir because Ymir is our man. Double checking this. Cool. Let's see. For example, Ymir is climbing. Actually, no. So what you every time an agent is under duress or injured in the field, they will need to how do I want to word this? Or injured in the field, they will take wounds directly to a limb of mission control's choice. For example, if trapped in a burning a building and just narrowly failing the initial check to escape, they may take two wounds to their arms and legs. Let's see. We want to do lethal, actually, severe. Let's see, severe damage. Which we're going to do things like suffocation, crushing, getting hit by a car, etc. Instead, we'll deal wounds to every part of the body at once. So if you're getting suffocated, you're not going to be taking you're not going to take one damage to your arm or your head or whatever. No, you're taking one damage to across the board. Because you're barely, you're clearly something is going wrong. This does mean that under severe problems, severe damage, there's a good chance, let me see if I can bring up vitals. Yeah. You technically only have 3 bits of severe damage. That is, you've been hit by a truck. You're dead. You're mangled. There's not really much you can do. Or, hey, you've been trapped in a burning building for so long it comes down on top of you. It's kind of dead by association just because your head gets destroyed. What if you take let's say 2 damage, but your legs have already been kind of fucked up? Your legs may be completely inoperable. That's kind of the idea of severe damage. Not take actually much damage in this game. That's kind of the point. I don't want you to be able to take an absurd amount of damage, but the situations here are, yeah, if you fail a check related to it, but these are, actually what I should do is put this in here. These are normally reserved for particular quote set pieces. These are reserved for set pieces. Actually, no. Actually, as cohesion drops, the dread will slowly set in. These events will become more likely. No, what am I doing? Yeah, this is kind of a band-aid rule. That'll work for what I'm trying to do here. Action and danger scenes. Probably just call action. There we go. Savior complex, fictional death, physical operation, isolated death. Okay. A lot of, not like a lot of rules, but just like, here's a bunch of stuff that are useful to know. Because it's kind of hard to put down into words. Of like, please play the game. Now comes the hard part, combat operation. Train for this particular event. Against an opponent. Against an opponent who's willing and able to fight back. Willing and able to fight back. Combat is a dangerous exchange. Which often leaves one or more people laying on the ground, bleeding to death. Actually, combat is a dangerous exchange. Actually, combat, firefight. Most combat encounters will be a firefight. Having the operators open fire. Having the operators and their opponents taking pot shots at one another until a lucky hit is scored, sending one side bringing their target down with them. All right. So let's kind of break down. Call it. That's what people call illegal. No, pet are secretly a metaphor for D&D 5e players. No, they're zombies. Good old zombies. Okay, this is where things start getting a little bit complicated. What do we really need in this system? Okay, actually gonna open up my Miro. Okay. Let's look at this kind of objectively speaking. What do we think we need? Okay, so let's close our eyes here for a second. Got my D12s here, everybody. Get your D12s out. We've just engaged in combat. Us versus them. What's the first thing we gotta worry about? I think we've just started fighting. We've ambushed it. We've ambushed a little, like, let's say a little convoy going through. We need to commandeer one of their trucks. That's the entire idea. We start opening up on them. They do not know we're there. What occurs? First things first, we're going to need to determine who's acting where and how. So, here's what we can do. We're going to call this the initiative. Notepad reveal from me somewhere. Chad Walker smiles. No, not Chad. Fuck Chad. God, I hate that. God, I hate that, man. Let's see. Okay. So first thing we need to do is initiative. Actually, no, we need to explain turns, rounds. Turns, rounds. Turns, rounds. Turns, rounds, and phases. During when combat begins, every character involved will be taking actions in an attempt to survive the encounter. These are broken up. These are broken up into turns and rounds. Turns are the actually I should say is a turn is the individual action. In the individual actions a character takes. Individual actions a character takes, while a round is the summation of all the turns performed by every character. When the last character in a combat has acted, the round ends and it resets to the top of the order with the first turn. However, there are two phases. There are two phases to combat. Combat encounters. The first phase is active combatants. The first phase is active combatants. These are individuals who are sentient and are actively engaged with one another in the short 10-second rounds of blasting one another. Short 10-second rounds of blasting one another with firearms. We can probably bring that down to like 5 seconds. 6 or 5. I'm saying 6-second rounds of blasting one another with firearms. Attacking one another. The second phase is the instinct. Second phase are for instinct combatants. These are bioweapons who are currently on the field acting with purpose. There are actually currently on the field. So actually what we could do is, there are 3 phases to combat encounters. The first, actually we do the most common phase is the active phase. The next phases are for instinct combatants. These are bioweapons who are currently on the field acting with purpose. These are broken down into predator instinct, and I guess natural instinct. Now predator instinct and horde instinct. Broken down into predator instinct and horde instinct. the basic order of operations of a full combat round. Combat round is the predator instinct phase. Active combatants phase. Horde instinct phase. Regardless of their current initiative, predators will always act at the start. Will always act at the start. Will always act before the active combatants. And finally, the horde will always act after them. So, pretty much, and kind of breaking this down in more Resident Evil terms, the tyrant is going to act first, then you, then a zombie. That's kind of how it's going. Hordes are your basic bitch zombies. They operate as a horde. There's a group of them. They kind of wander around and they rush at you. They're a horde. That's the issue. Predators, on the other hand, are your special infected. They're the ones that are going to fuck your day up. They're going to act first. Before anyone has any actions to do anything, they're going to act first and they're going to target someone and they're going to jump on them and they're going to eat them. That makes them very scary in a prolonged fight. And why you do not want to fight them in a prolonged fight. Is it ethical to eat zombies? No, do not eat zombies. Oh, Jesus. Puma, the guy who made bombs of balaclavas, yeah. No. Yeah, Chad Walker is an interesting human being. I've gone over him before. I am amazed. I don't think he's done anything. You know what? Fuck it. You know, we're kind of... Let's see. Chad Walker RPG. Is he even... Yeah, it's Cryptomancer is his big thing. Cryptomancer is his darling. I have Cryptomancer. Land of Nop LLC. Let's see. See, this is always the funny thing, is that it's a gold bestseller. Let's see. Let's do Land of Nop. He's got to have something else, right? Code and Dagger. Code and Dagger. Let's see, when did this come out? 2020. This is his Cryptomancer. Yeah, when I say Cryptomancer is the baby, I'm not lying. Cryptomancer is the baby. Kill all the orcs, hack all the things. Chad, you can't say that. Yeah, Cryptomancer RPG downloads by now. Yeah, this is his darling. I actually have this game. I've been debating on going over it, but I'm like, I don't know if I can actually go over it. Simply because I have such a negative opinion on the matter, because he wrote this disaster area, and I don't know why anyone could really buy it. And he's kind of a dick. Yeah. People like it for some reason, though. Even though it's literally just a game about filling fucking bars. Yeah, he hasn't really done anything else except fucking Cryptomancer. It's a hacker game. Oh my god, guys, it's a hacker game. Cryptomancer is an interesting pitch. However, I've never heard of anyone actually talk about Cryptomancer before. That's the thing. Like, I've never heard of anyone actually talk of Cryptomancer except me when I talk about it. But I also have a burning hatred of Chad because I think he's just kind of a dick. Maybe, but it's I don't know if I will ever review it or not. It's kind of one of those like, eh. Okay, so what we need to do is paste you. Do not crash, please. Turns rounds and phases. We do this. Basic order operation, full combat is Predator Instinct phase. Predator Instinct phase, acting combatants phase. Around while attacking one another. So, yeah. So again, it's these are your tyrants. These are your special infected. These are your normal people. These are there. This is where kind of that three phase. That's where kind of that three-way warfare comes in, which is the idea of like, yeah, the problem with the guys with the instinct phase is that people in instinct phase, they're going to have a very set idea of what they want to accomplish. That's the thing. They act on instinct. They're not acting. They're not thinking really. One of those big ones is they're going to go after who's ever very injured or easy to get to. People in the horde instinct are going to go to whoever is closest. So, when in doubt, just run away from them. Literally, just move away from them, and they cannot hurt you. They physically cannot hurt you. Okay, so we're going to do that. Next, we're going to add in the... Actually, do I want to even call it that? Do I want to call it the initiative? We want to call it the, Actually. Let's do initiative synonym. It's kind of like you're fast on the draw kind of thing. Like you got that kind of... Because what I was going to do is use Dawnline system right here. Because I think Dawnline system would work very good for this. I guess we can call it Surge. Actually, actions and Surge. Regardless of their current surge, predators will always act for active. So, let's see. They buy it because of the political stuff. Yeah, to a degree. Just have to be faster than your friends and enemies. Yeah, pretty much. Shepard, you got the right idea. So you're thinking smart. You're thinking smart, my friend. Let's actually do this real fast. So we want to do actions and search. So at the start of the phase, at the start of no, okay. At the start of the phase, at the start of the no, how do I want to do this? Okay, basic order of actually, we want to do. Oh, there are 4 phases to a combat encounter. The first, let's see, the first phase, 4 phases to a combat encounter. The first phase of every combat is the surge phase. The surge phase. Followed is the surge phase, determining how the following determining the determining the combatants, current reserve of energy, actually momentum in the combat. Then the most common phase of the active combatants. It will be the surge phase, predator instinct phase. So combat begins. Actually during the surge phase. All active combatants. All active combatants will roll 1d12 plus. Actually, we'll roll 1d12 plus CCR. All active combatants will roll 1d12 plus CCR. Adding the total together. Actually, or do I want to do it success based? Because pretty much how the Dawnline handles it. Dawnline does actually a very unique system with how it handles initiative. Which one of the ideas is that you're going to take whatever your die you're rolling and you're going to roll and you're going to add it to your base initiative value. So let's say, for example, I roll a 6. Let's say I roll a 6, for example. And I have a 3 and I have a 4. I would have a 10 value. I can spend every interval of 4, I can actually spend that to perform an additional action, but I'm lowering my initiative. I may have more actions to do, but I'm acting lower on the list. That is actually how I plan to do it with the actions in Surge. However, it's the idea of like, how do I want to do this? Do I want to just tie up directly to the CCR? Do I want to make it its own thing? I guess actually, you know what I can do? All active combatants will roll CCR. CCR adding the total. We'll roll CCR, adding their total successes together. So let's see. CCR 3 is going to be an average of. Let's see, with rolling here, I got 2 successes here. Rolling again, I got 1 success. No, you gotta just do, I think 1d12 plus CCR is the right option. Roll 1d12 plus. Adding the total together. This is the combatant surge value. They may choose to spend, we'll say, spend 4 of their current surge. Let's see, they may choose to spend 4 of their current surge for an action. Let's see, they may spend 4 of their current surge for a major action. Major action. Special infected who's just a zombie with a stinger missile. Yeah, pretty much. Let's see, let's see, how do I want to do this? I guess major action would be the right term for it for now. That's all I have. They may choose to spend 4 of their current surge for a major action. That's major action. for a major action. For a major action, as many times as they have their as many times as they wish. So minimum, you're always going to have one. As an operator, you're always going to minimum have one. If you roll dead minimum as like a bad combatant, you may have no actions just because you just kind of flare flat-footed, you're on your ass kind of thing. They may choose to spend 4 of their current surge for a major action as many times as they wish, as long as they have the proper surge value, as well as they have proper surge. After determining the number of major actions, their remaining surge value dictates when they will act in the initiative, when they will act in the active combatant phase. And so the remaining surge value act in a descending order. So you may be able to, let's say for example, with a 3, I'm going to roll real fast. I rolled a 2. So 3 plus 2, obviously I have 4. What I can do is I can spend it. I'm going to do a major action. However, with that, I still have I'm still at surge 1. So if we go down the initiative line, at 1, I will act. However, if I roll something like a 12, for example, 12 plus 3, that's 15. I can spend it on 4 actions and act on 3. Again, it's initiative. It's how fast. It's giddy up and fucking go. That's the big idea. It's the giddy up and fucking go. Now I want to replay CDDA. See, I love CDDA, man. I love it. Love it to death. In descending order. So probably they act as an active combatant in the active combatant phase. I'm sensing we need to put in, so for example, Ymir dives for cover. Let's see. Ymir dives for cover as an insurgent. Rounds the corner with an AK. Because today was a good day. Rounds the corner, taking aim. Excuse me. The two will roll 1d12 plus CCR. Ymir has a 3. The insurgent has a 2. Ymir rolls a 3 for a total of 6, while the insurgent rolls a 1 for a total of 3. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to bump up the numbers here. 6 for a total of 9, and we're going to do 1 for a total of 3. Ymir opts to spend 4 of his spend. It would be 8 of his actually. Ymir opts to spend 8 of his surge for two major actions, with a remaining surge of 1. While the insurgent cannot afford a major action, but acts on surge 3. The insurgent acts first, realizing his critical mistake. There we go. We insert. We do. Want to do by doing. You just type it in. Can CDDA with all its autism be adapted to a TTRPG? Superesse Mortus. This was originally supposed to be the CDDA game. Because I wanted to make it as complicated as physically possible. I believe it was for a game jam. Like, that was the idea, was that it was supposed to be as physically odd as possible. And I decided to make it a little bit overzealous in how I chose to approach it. The wound system in this thing is probably the most horrific I've ever put into a game. As well as, you know, being able to repair your car up to various capacities, even down to how all the equipment works. Yeah, it's a little bit wonky. Yeah, this is a little bit of a wonky game. Yeah, no, CDDA is like a raw CDA game. That's where things started getting a little bit wiggly whack. You need a team for that. That's all I'm saying. You need a good team. Because everyone's going to have to be doing different things all at once. So we have actions and surge. So we've got the turns and phases. We've got the actions and surges. Do we do actions first, or do we do... No, we need to establish the... battlefield awareness. No, we're going to do this. This is going to be the last thing for the night. So, let's think about it. Let's think about this in the nicest way possible. We've acted, things are going on. We gotta quickly make a decision. So, it was a game jam game, so I never posted it anywhere. I actually did a majority of that, not even on Twitch. I did a lot of that on YouTube. I streamed on YouTube. Let's think. What am I thinking? What am I thinking? Okay, now we're just gonna... Okay, so let's reimagine our scenario. We've ambushed the convoy. We're shooting down at them. We've put ourselves on either side of the road. We're shooting down at the convoy itself. It's close range, everything's fine. It's mostly about picking targets, and they're trying to get behind cover and where they can. But we have them on both sides. So, how do we represent this on the field? Now, option A. So, option A, we go down, we use grids. We use a grid. Simple option, and we use XCOM. That's the idea. We use XCOM on a grid. Which is mostly going to be the idea of you're going to move X amount of squares and you're going to be doing X amount of things. And it's like get behind cover, which has like a very definitive value, and such and such and such. That's very simple. We go with option B. We go with zones. Zones being more along the lines of there's a few generalized areas, and those generalized areas are going to be the thing that really kind of gives you an idea of where everything's going to be. So in this situation, it would be, you know, yeah, it would be like, you know, left woods convoy road, left woods road, right woods, with, you know, the road would have the truck on it and shit like that. That's option B. Option C, wiggity whack, which is to say that there is really no structure in that regard. It's just, if it's present, it's there. As if you can see it, it's there, and it's more about the concept of claiming things to establish narrative truth. If the insurgent can claim, that he has cover, then he has cover. That's kind of the idea. Option D is an abstract map, which leads to option E, which is more along the line, there's kind of a hybridized system. There's no good option here. Because let's think. What we do, like 5-foot grids. 5-foot grids would be the easiest one, where you're literally just dead sprinting around, and you know, when zombies show up, they're kind of entering the field with a grid with things like that. However, again, the ranges on weapons stop meaning a lot, and things start getting a little bit wacky. There should be an answer here. That's the issue, I think. Should really be. Really don't. Because most of everything I'm looking at is so free range, which honestly, there was a moment here in which free range map was an idea, which was just, you can move a certain number of literal inches. Like, you got to get out the fucking protractor, you got to get out a little fucking ruler, and you got to go. You got to pray. But I don't believe that's the right option. Far from. I believe that's the right. If I wanted to be conservative, I would go with grid, and it would be simple, and it would be dumb, and it would be easy. If I wanted to go kind of more, if I don't want to think about it, I just go space distance, in which everything's just abstracted distance. There's nothing really clear there. It's just like, you are or you're not, and it's kind of, if that occurs, then you are, and if it's not, it's not. It's a lot more of a easy going. This fun fact, there is not a single good TTRPG involving guns that I can think of that does this. It's just kind of works for a lot of them with regards to maps. Or they end up again with 5-foot grids and like 30-foot range on a fucking gun. Would you believe people actually like say like, oh, like D&D 5e does guns well? Do you believe that? People are like, people believe it. Looking at, what am I looking? What am I looking? Gotta be an answer. The majority of these old games were actually all based on a grid, but the grid was fucking huge because everything was so small. Like, you could have these larger grids. This is when I say like XCOM combat map. Like, this is what I mean by that. Like, everything's broken down into various squares, and that's what we're working with. You kind of see how everything's laid out here. It also doesn't help anytime you Google something like this, being like modern warfare TTRPG. It's like, RPG 7, Call of Duty, Modern Warfare. Let's do like modern TTRPG. It's like my favorite one is let me see. D20 Modern. May 25th, 2020. May 25, 2020. D20 Modern. Spycraft, fucking Fiasco, GURPS, Fate Core. Jesus fucking Christ, all fucking mighty. What am I looking? Version GURPS. That's GURPS. Why aren't you using GURPS? It's funny. Wonder if the fucking chat has anything to work with. Also, for everyone wondering, this is Bombs and Balaclavas. This is the game that Chad wrote. That is literally about LARPing as terrorists, which... Oh, Jesus Christmas Christ, I never fucking realized this was here. Holy fuck. No, we're closing that right now. We're closing that right the fuck now. Jesus. I never realized that. Feng Shui. Dark Heresy on roll 20 is painful, with a basic rifle being able to shoot like 360 meters and maps lagging out a quarter of that. I need to ask, what RPG does good tactical 1v1 combat without a map? I know it sounds right, rarded, but I'm talking stuff like parrying, damaging specific body parts, feints. Kung 2 fights, scene, or sword fight. I'm struggling with ideas for now. Look at abstracted battle maps. Look at abstracted battle maps. And look at things such as Necronica does a pretty good one. Necronica does very much Necronica's thing. However, there's a couple other different ones that have different approaches to things. But yeah, that's what you're really looking at. It's if you don't want like a full-on like legit map. Like in Changsha, for example, I used an action map for that. Bombs and balaclavas? No. I've talked about it before, but fuck that. Wonder. Let's do Feng Shui's older brother, fucking Hong Kong action theater. I have Hong Kong action theater, but I don't think I have Feng Shui. Well, she wants to keep detail track of movement, ranges, distance, and close combat. Most GMs should not worry about exact speeds and distances. General idea of the overall situation sufficient. Behind him and in melee range. Six ways to stop a fight, dodging damage. What's your Unless we say fuck it and just go. Umbrella core. That's not what I'm looking for. Fucking umbrella core. Jesus. Found this one on accident the other day. Yeah, this was umbrella core. This was one of their own weird ones that was like really bad. We're looking at also thank you, Nez Games. No pen. Tabletop. Hey, no pen. Tabletop simulator worked good for battle maps and a good map. When we used it for our OSR game, it worked good. It's you have to import all the maps, and if you're lucky, you can find good maps, exactly what you need. If you're unlucky, you're not really gonna find those maps as easily. But yeah, it works fine. But you're gonna, how do I want to word this? You're gonna have to make all the maps, and you cannot apply a grid to them. You have to find gridless maps, unless you are trying. Vietnam War Game Patrol. I have Patrol. I know I do. That would be silly if I didn't have Patrol. I remember distinctly going over it. Alternatively, boys, bear with me here. What if we use? No, not really. I could have swore I had Patrol. I have Patrol in my other folder. Welcome to me having like my 17 different folders full of shit. Patrol. I know I have Patrol. This is the newsstand presses version, but let's see. We need to do. What's status tracking? Well, the single most important physical element in most of the rules only boil down to relative position of characters and objects, so that it can only be tracked properly on this map. So it's important to ensure the map is suitable for play. You can keep chat map private, or the players have to rely on narration, and the map game piece can be public for everyone to see. Closed map versus open map. At the very least, map needs scale for distance and a compass rose for direction. The map has a grid system, markers for elevation, some way of telling terrain apart. Cardinal, interdirectional cardinals. All distance into meters or meters and kilometers clicks. A little bit too big for like. Yeah, exactly. That's kind of the issue, is that it's a little bit larger scale than it. Good suggestion. Concentric rings. Only gridless map pay and Phoenix Command moment. Where's Twilight 2000? I don't know about Twilight. Let me check. Do I have Twilight 2000? I don't think I have. I don't even think I have Twilight 2000. I do. I think I have the older version. Do I have 13th Age? I remember I was on a kick with 13th Age for a very long time. I love 13th Age. I thought it was the coolest fucking thing in the world. This is the old version too. I've had this book forever. Wow. Combat sequence, combat action, special actions, attacks, damage, healing, death. Where are your map? Give me your map. Cyclical initiative. Engagement chart. 165 usually. Combat is scared but only in simple approximate terms. Emphasize where people are and who's fighting whom, but it doesn't count squares. Miniatures are useful keeping track of where is what, even if they're just using bottle caps. Characters in battle are free. They can move freely, use range attack, engage in battle, blah blah blah. Position, whereabouts, nearby, behind. So it's more about just relative positions. If you suggest Lumen, I'm gonna fucking ban you. Okay. Big. I'm still a little bit big. Maybe it's 16. Meter hexes. Action. 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 What do we do a majority of the time with an action? What we're doing, it's called forward momentum. We're always moving forward. We're always making aggressive plays. We're always going forward. We're always slamming ourselves in the covers, taking a few shots, and moving. We're always moving. Always move. Always move. Truck is right. Truck is right there. Our guys are right here. These are our guys. Bad man is right there. Bad man is right there. Bad man there. Bad man there. We open fire immediately. We start trying to take them out immediately. They're starting to run away. They're starting to run. They're starting to bolt. What do we do? How do we abstract this? How do we make this work? Add forward momentum. Fucking wild arms. You damn hexes. No, I'm a hex man myself personally. I might have to take a rate. I think I'm gonna call it here. I literally just need to stare at this. I need to stare at this long. I don't know what to do here. I'm a little stumped on this, is because I don't quite know how I want to do it. There is a right answer. That's the issue. There is a right answer. That's the beautiful thing. Is what I'm trying to do, what the goal is how do you create a map? How do you create a system that encourages forward momentum? Constantly moving forward while still maintaining the value of positioning. This is still modern combat. Hey, Urban Assault Paintball. Fucking battle network. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna take a. I'm going. Oh, this is infuriating, but I think I'm gonna end it here. I need to think. I need to think a lot on. There's an answer here. There's an answer. I just don't know what it is. Because there's. I want to word this. The idea is simple enough. That's the thing. The idea is simple enough. Because what you need to do is you need to create a situation where both the tactical position of your character as well as just the basic momentum is present. Everything else is going to work. Everything else is going to work just fine. Just that part. Because what I want to be able to occur is that you've gotten behind somebody and you've lit them up. You've moved around, you've jumped up on something, you look over, you pop them once. Kind of that idea. But you still need to keep up the pressure with it. Now, fucking amoral self, again, would be get the fucking ruler out. Let's, again, on an open map. The open map would be the easiest. That'd be the simplest answer. But I'm not gonna be like, it's time for the ruler, everybody. That seems a little bit harsh. Yeah, I need to think. We got work done, not as much as I was hoping though. Yeah, I'll come back on Wednesday. This might be a little bit longer than I anticipated, simply because there's a lot of these little gaps. Something isn't right. I don't know what it is. Don't know. Oh no. I'll think on it. Thank you all for watching. My name is Notepad Anon. You know how this tomorrow I'm going to be working on the Summon Skate video, and if things go according to plan, I might stream later tonight. That night. That's the plan. Depends on how long Summon Skate video actually takes. I don't think it's going to be a very long video because it's a weird fucking game, and I have to just say repeatedly, this is a weird game. You gotta roll with it. But it might also be a fairly long video of me having to explain a game about literal Persona on Ice. So bear with that. Thank you all for watching. Good luck. Godspeed. You know the rest. I will see you all probably tomorrow, but I will see you all on Wednesday for more Zombie Dark 30. Thank you. Goodbye.